This presentation is from the Working in Neighborhoods Department. One of our many contracts that we do in our department is our nuisance abatement. Our nuisance abatement program goes onto private property where they mow, clean, secure, remove health and safety hazards after a property owner has been given notice. Working Neighborhoods Department, again, go through the nuisance abatement. We'll talk about the bidding processes and requirements. We'll go over briefly what the work orders will look like if you're awarded a contract, and then we'll have questions at the end. Working Neighborhoods, we have 4 divisions in our department. We have animal welfare, our housing department, neighborhood services, and neighborhood investigations, which is commonly known as code enforcement. The WIN department's mission is to build strong, vibrant, safe, and livable neighborhoods. Code enforcement, it's the process where the city, we typically, most of ours comes in through phoned-in complaints, called-in complaints. We do not go out and look for properties, but most of ours comes in through either 311 or other agencies. But once we receive a complaint, an inspector goes out, looks at a piece of property, investigates it, issues legal notices, and gives a property owner approximately 10 business days in order to bring the property into compliance. If the violations still exist, and our common one, we're getting onto our growing season, so our most common one throughout the year is tall grass and weeds. So after 10 business days, if they have not abated the property, what will happen is we will draft up a work order, and we will send it to one of our city contractors that have already been pre-approved and selected, and they will go out and actually physically abate the property. Once the nuisance abatement, is the physical removal of the nuisance violations, our work orders will give each contractor specific job requirements. We'll provide photographs of the property. We'll provide the actual map so that you all can see. A lot of our properties are vacant lots or larger lots, so they'll actually have the measurements and sizes to help the contractor. And then we'll also give you the actual legal notice that gives us the authority to be on that particular property. Our most common types of property that we work is, again, overgrown weeds, tall grass and weeds, boarding and securing of open structures, removal of standing dead trees, removal of trash, junk, and debris, and pumping of stagnant pools of water. Here's a couple of examples of what typically a contractor is going to see on a day-to-day basis. This is a before and after picture, so contractor is going to pull up. There's other specific job requirements that will be outlined in detail to the contractor, like they have to take before, after, and during photographs of all work. That not only allows them to be paid, but it also proves that we actually did the work. So if we're ever contested, we can show the property owner that we actually did the work. Here's the kind of items that we'll be removing. Again, these are before and after pictures, so you can kind of see on the top 2 slides the kind of the graphic nature of the things that we have to remove on a daily basis. And this is what the lot looks like right after we are completed. Boarding and securing. During our boarding and securing, also before and after pictures must be taken by the contractor. We have 2 types of boarding and securing. One's going to be a standard securing, which is what you see here. And I think we have a slide of our high securing. There we go. And what that does is those are the 2 types that we use depending on the level of security that we need in order to provide to that particular structure or the incidents that are going on surrounding that structure. So next slide, please. Here's an example of a standing dead tree removal. Our contract, just like on our nuisance abatement contract, there's many line items where we bid on. Standing dead tree is just like that, where we have various sizes where a contractor is going to charge a specific amount based on the diameter of that tree or tree limbs, depending on what we're asking you to remove. But again, another before and after picture of a contractor removing a standing dead tree. Here's the kind of pools that we deal with on a regular basis, especially during the spring and summer months. Stagnant water is one of our number one health and safety issues, just because of the Zika virus, West Nile virus. If anybody's lived by next door to a pool or a stagnant water, makes it very difficult to be outside on how many mosquitoes this actually does breed. So it is one of our number one safety hazards that we deal with in the spring and summer. But the contractor will be required to not only pump the pool, but sometimes there's going to be debris inside that pool. That pool is going to have to be not only pumped, but it's also going to have to be cleaned, because those the leaves at the bottom, they're going to breed just as much as mosquitoes as that water does. Once a work order is started, no changes can be made without the approval of the wind department. Again, we give specific instructions to the contractor that gives them the idea of what they should be looking forward to when they show up to a piece of property. Obviously, things can change, will change. That's not a normal for something to change on a work order, but we ask that the contractor call us, get pre-approval, because we want to make sure that the contractor is paid, and we also need to make sure also that we're staying within the scope of the abatement letter itself. So always call. Emergency work orders, these happen quite frequently, where we'll be asked by police or fire to go out to a piece of property and secure it. Once it is given to one of our contractors, they have 24 hours to assign. So again, emergency means emergency. So when we ask our contractors, can you complete this, we are asking them, can you complete this within 24 hours of assignment, because of the nature of that complaint or the health and the safety hazard that that particular property poses to the public. Contractors will be required to perform different types of paperwork. Again, we've talked about before and after pictures. Photographs are a must. I can't tell you how important photographs of not only the property before, during, and after, but of the truck sizes, how much debris you removed, how many windows, how many doors, what did you actually do in order to bring that property in compliance. Again, not only it helps the city defend its actions of what we did do on the property, but it's also to get the contractor paid, and paid as quickly as possible, because we also know that's extremely important to all of our businesses. So the more and the better pictures you take, the quicker we can turn around that payment. One of our main things is right there at the bottom, our daily reports. It's very important that the contractor continue electronic communication with us. That's one of our requirements, is that we email back and forth on a daily basis of what the contractor has done. If we're requiring the contractor to do any specific jobs that day, we usually stay in contact via email, some type of electronic communication. Registration, there's some, not only the website right there, but some information, some helpful information. So if you're wanting to register and be a bid of this contract, and Mr. Hood, and you can help me out just a little bit on this, but these are the things, or Julie Miller on the 15th floor, and her email, please contact and get yourself registered, so when these bids and these packets get announced, that you will be able to bid on this particular contract, or all contracts throughout the city of Tulsa, not just this one. This is an example of the form. Again, pretty self-explanatory, but if there's any questions, I know people in purchasing will be more than happy to help you and assist you and get you through this process. Again, if you're interested, please get signed up, because we would like as many bidders as we can for this contract, just like in all contracts throughout the city of Tulsa. This is an example of how many line items. Again, this is, I don't know, do we have another slide after this? No, I'm sorry, we'll go back to this one, thank you. But this is just, this is 2 pages long, and that's how many line items in the nuisance abatement contract. So you can see at the top line, there's going to be mowing with obstructions, there's mowing without obstructions, the lot sizes, everything from a standard 75 by 130 to 1+ acres. type mowing. We also mow buffers when we do large acres, 2-3 acres track. So we're not actually mowing that big, but we're mowing just a buffer around certain particular tracks just to keep the cost down for not only for the property owner, but for us as well. Requirements for bid: insurance, liability, personal injury, property damage, workers' comps, and auto liability is a requirement. Some of the equipment examples that we will require is cell phone, so we can have constant immediate contact, computer, obviously cameras. One thing with our cameras, it has to be time, date, and stamped. That's extremely important. Every picture we take and every picture the contractor take has to be time, date, and stamped. There's trucks, mowers, weed eaters, chainsaws. We'll have require 2 trailers or trucks to hold at least a 10 to 20 cubic yard capacity. It's a requirement to have at least 6 full-time employees as a minimum, and you'll have to supply your operating business financials during that process. Just some real quick examples of what type of equipment you can use. Standard riding lawnmower, brush hog. Here's an example of a truck and trailer. Again, there's different variations of what you can use, but again, all we require is that particular piece of equipment handled between 10 and 20 cubic yards. So some choose to use trailers, some do a trailer truck combination, some just use strictly trucks. So we don't try to dictate what you have to use, just the parameters that it has to be 10 to 20 cubic yards. Requirements of weed eaters, chainsaws. Now this is very important, kind of touched on it earlier, but contractors must communicate with the contracts coordinator on a daily basis. Again, any types of changes to our work orders or any questions has to be communicated. I always tell our contractors, don't assume if it doesn't say on the work order specifically of what you should do and how to go about doing it, to call us, because again, we want our contractors not only to be safe, but we also want to make sure that the work that they're doing, they're being paid for it. So it's we always ask all of our contractors, just call us. We'll advise you exactly what to do if it's not 100% clear. Completions of work orders on a daily basis. This allows us to know where our contractors are, how many we're doing per day, but also when we are doing work orders based on this contract, it's kind of a first in, first out. So if you get assigned 10 work orders and you complete 10 work orders, you can come in tomorrow and get another 10 work orders. So that's how we don't work in zones or regions. It's strictly how quickly you can get the work done and get your next batch of work orders. Required always good communications with citizens. We ask our contractors present themselves in a professional image. We require the contractors to be in identifying shirts or some type of markings. So when you're on private property, again, remember you're on private property, so we want it to be easily identifiable. We also require that the trucks be clearly marked. The trucks, I believe it's just the trucks. I'm not sure if the truck and the trailers, but timely completion of the work is a must. There's certain timelines that each work order must be done. Securing has to be done within 48 hours of assignment, but your typical work order for, say, just mowing a vacant lot, you should have about 7 days in order to complete it. So it's pretty up pace, but again, we try to give the correct amount of work so you can get it done in a timely manner. Be courteous. One thing that's not on there that probably needs to be, but first and foremost, is be safe. Again, we're on private property, so there's nothing on private property we want to see any one of our contractors to get hurt. Again, I'd rather be safe. Move off the property, call us, let us handle something that needs to be handled, and then allow our contractors to move on. So safety is always paramount.